I often get asked, how do these ratings come about? You know, the doctor found that I had a 7% permanent disability. What does that mean in money? But in reality, the doctor or the QME or the PTP, they don't find a level of disability. They find a level of whole person impairment. That goes into a big, long, ugly rating string. That gets turned into disability after apportionment. So I wanted to go through an example. We'll just take a report that I got on one of my files. I'll take that one page out. We'll go through that. And then I'll make up some other facts with regards to occupation and age, but we'll walk through a rating so you can see how that works. So first, let's look at this page that I got from one of my med-legal examiners. He found 4% whole person impairment based on loss of range of motion of the shoulder. He then added to that 3% pain-related add-on or pain-related impairment. So the total whole person impairment is 7% whole person impairment based on loss of range of motion of the shoulder. So then you say, what is that worth? Ugh. It has to go into a formula before it means anything. So before we move on, look at this same page down below. It shows 100% of the disability for the injured worker is due to the injury at issue. There's no disability that's due to earlier injuries, subsequent injuries, other conditions. It's all industrial. So what we'll do, we're going to start making a rating string. I'll put this on the bottom of the screen. And now we're going to turn from that medical report, we're going to turn to the 2005 Permanent Disability Rating System. It's the PDRS that all the attorneys, judges, the Disability Evaluation Unit uses to rate out these reports. So let's start making a rating string. I'm not going to flip through the book for you. I'm just going to show excerpts from each relevant page. But we'll start, first of all, 100% of the disability is industrial. So we can start that on the bottom of the screen. 100% is industrial. Next, we have to find what the impairment code is. So we'll flip through the 2005 PDRS. We're going to find shoulder range of motion. We see that that code is 16.02.01.00. We have our rating string started. It already looks like nonsense, but this is what the workers' compensation system does. Next, we put in the whole person impairment rating that we got from the doctor. So 7% goes in next. Next, we have to adjust that for the diminished future earning capacity modifier. When we first started this system 15, 20 years ago almost, the modifiers would change, but right now everything is getting an 8 modifier. So we find 7. We go all the way down to the bottom for an 8 modifier, so the 7 gets modified to 10, so 10 goes into our rating string next. Next, we need to know the injured worker's occupation. So let's say she was a musician. So we'll flip through the PDRS until we get to musicians. There may be multiple listed. If there's not, or if there are, we'll find one that's closest to her. Sometimes, unfortunately, you don't find anything close. You need to really get creative in looking for different words, like keyword search to find the right job. But here we find musician, and the code for a musician is 220, so 220. That goes into the rating string. Next, we need to know the modifier for how the shoulder impairment gets modified based on the occupational code. So you can kind of think for someone, let's say if they were a ditch digger, a very strenuous job, if it was a back or shoulder injury, it would be more impactful. For someone who sits at a desk all day long and just does data entry, a back injury is less impactful. So we find 220, we go down, we find 16020100. We look across, we find the column that has 220. We see that the modifier for our musician who injured her shoulder is F. So 220F goes into the formula. Next, we have to adjust for age and occupation. So next, we're going to look in the PDRS. We're going to scroll through. And next we adjust for occupation. So we find F and we find the 10 that we started with. So 10, you go across the column to F. it stays 10. So 10 goes back into the code again on the bottom. Next, we adjust for age. Let's say our injured worker is 30 years old. So then we find our number, which is 10. We find age over in the right. She's in the 30 years old in that column. We go down. Her 10 gets bumped down to a 9. So now we're at 9% for the permanent disability rating string. Next, that has to get modified by the apportionment that the doctor found. So in our report, the doctor said 100% was industrial. So then the final rating in this case is 9% permanent disability. Okay, so we started in the very beginning. The doctor said 7% whole person impairment. We know that for our injured worker, it rates out to 9% permanent disability. Any one of those things along the way could have bumped it up, could have pulled it back down. If she was older, it would have gone up. Younger, it would have gone down. Depending on the type of job, could have gone up, could have gone down. All of these things change, so you can't say, what would I be at 7%? Would I be 9 also? Maybe, but you might be 6 or you might be 12, Lord knows. So now you have 9% permanent disability. What does that equal in money? You go then to a money chart. It's in the back. It's all set by the state of California, so there's no control over this. Assuming you are maximum for earnings, your permanent disability of 9% is going to have a dollar value of $7,830.00. That's it. The only way it'll be different than that is if you're not a maximum earner. It could be slightly lower depending on the weekly rate that gets paid. But basically, you're looking at permanent disability of $7,830. That's what it's going to be. It'll get paid out every 2 weeks until the award is paid. So you say, what if I want to negotiate my permanent disability? Well, there's not a lot of negotiating. As you saw, the doctor said 7. 7% goes into that big, long, crazy string that we just went through. It works out to 9% in this case. 9% is what will happen. So if you're looking at stipulations with request for award, 9% permanent disability is what it will be. If you take the case to trial and the judge finds that the report is substantial evidence, 9% permanent disability is what the findings and award will be. If this report goes to the DEU and the reporting is all very straightforward, there's no questions over the occupational code for the injured worker, 9% is what the permanent disability rating is going to be. Negotiating takes place if you're doing a CNR, the value of the future medical, that type of thing, or if you have fight somewhere in here. Let's say not cut and dried like a musician. Maybe it was something very unusual, a computer programmer that has to do work in an elevated tower that you climb a ladder, Lord knows. There might be some negotiating there to find the correct occupational code. But in short, this is what happens if a doctor says 7% and it's 100% industrial, in this case, 9% permanent disability. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button down below and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos.